We won't know for probably another month and a half. He had that minor surgery. He's going to change his diet, do some things, and see what happens.
Danny, Greg Nelson said it was diverticulitis, and he said he never went to the Mayo Clinic. I mean, is that?
He did go to the Mayo Clinic.
Oh, because he said the other day he did. So.
You can't listen to him. You got to listen to me. He's never going to tell you what's going on. You know how he is. You know.
So it was not diverticulitis then?
Yes,
it is diverticulitis, and he did go to the Mayo Clinic. Mm-hmm. Did he have surgery at the Mayo Clinic?
No. He just got checked out.
And then the whole bit about him being on for a year or more.
It could be forever. We won't know for the next couple of months. Obviously, I'm hoping that's not the case, as I'm sure all of you are. But we'll see what happens.
When you talk to him, does he talk about fighting or does he talk about just getting better?
Yeah, he talks about both. You know, he believes he's going to come back, and you know, he's confident and positive. He's in a much better place than he was when he was in the hospital.
Do they know what it is? Have they figured it out?
Yeah, they have. They figured it out. So the question now is, he's either going to need major surgery or he's not, and we won't know for the next, couple months.
But Danny, when you keep saying, talking about how sick he was and he wasn't able to do this, and yet, and I know this isn't athletically, but you see him at that Vikings game, and he did not look like he was.
Yeah, well, what they said is, this guy, the doctor said he's only been at 60% for the last year. You know, that's scary in itself, but that thing just hit him all of a sudden. He felt sick. He felt like he was sick. He felt like he had the flu. He didn't know what he had. He went to the hospital a bunch of times. They couldn't tell him anything. So his brother said, they have a big place up in Canada. He said, let's go up to Canada and hang out. And he dropped in Canada. Literally, that's where it all happened.
Any thoughts on what you guys are going
to do?
Huh?
An intestinal thing would cause you to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's actually one of my employees, one of the guys who works for us right now, has it too. And it's not good. It's bad.
Any thoughts on what you guys are going to do with Carwin until Lesnar comes back?
No. We still got to wait here a little bit and see what's going to happen to him. Maybe back, maybe he can't. I don't know. We got to happen to him first. I'm going to wait and see whether he has to have this major surgery before I make any big decisions.
Sorry, Dana, excuse my stupidity, but has somebody said what it is? Or you said you know what it is? Are you telling us what it is?
Yeah. I'm not going to talk about his medical thing. You know how he is. He doesn't want anybody to know. You guys talk to him, apparently, and he tells you something different, I keep telling him, like Brock, I have to be honest about it. I'm not going to lie to everybody about it. But there's only so much I can tell you. Because he doesn't, he's a private guy. He doesn't want anybody to talk about it.
Do you feel Congo has the worst ground game in the UFC?
Has the what?
Worst ground game in the UFC?
I wouldn't say he has the worst ground game in the UFC. We didn't get to see it, but Houston Alexander and Kimbo's aren't so hot. So I wouldn't call him the worst, no.
Dana, for those of us who weren't in Las Vegas, what did you think of Houston Alexander's strategy and performance?
I was going to leave. I was going to get up and walk out of the fight. That's what I thought of it. If I didn't have to hand out the Ultimate Fighter trophy at the end, I'd have left that night. Not a good night for me.
What are your impressions now of Roy Nelson?
Listen, I got to give it to Roy. Roy did it, man. Let me tell you, Brendan trained hard for that fight up in Colorado and was ready for that fight, and Roy knocked him out in the first round.
Looking back on everything, do you think...
It's like me and Roy are going to be together for a while.
Did you say that Kimbo has proved you wrong that he can be a mixed martial artist, or you still...
He did prove me wrong, absolutely. And I told Kevin that night, you know what, as disgusted as I was with Houston Alexander's performance, Kimbo beat a real guy. He beat a real guy. The last thing I expected was for Houston Alexander to come in and do the Caleb Starnes. I didn't expect that to happen.
Did you talk to Houston after the fight?
No, I don't even want to talk to him.
Did you cut him?
Yeah, I don't want to talk to Houston. Houston had an opportunity to. Anyway,
where are you going with Kimbo?
Kimbo's going to fight. Kimbo's going to fight his next guy. And the thing about Kimbo is, let me tell you what, Kimbo was chasing him around the ring, asking him to engage, trying to make it a fight, and Houston didn't want to fight him. There's a lot of possibilities, There's a long, hard road in the UFC, but I'll tell you what, right here, right now, I'm going to say it. I challenged this guy. He took the challenge. He came in. He did the show. he learned, and he came in and beat Houston Alexander in the finale.
You had said, on the Ultimate Fighter Media Day that, he had the same thing as the other fighters, but if he won the show, he would get a bigger contract than everybody else.
Right.
Did he still get that bigger contract?
He didn't win the show.
Okay, I was pointing out. So he did. So he has a little lesser contract.
Did you say
how
that?
many fights? How many fights does he have?
I honestly don't know off the top of my head. I don't remember. I have so many guys under contract.
Did you say Houston's been cut? He's no longer with the organization?
Yeah. If we didn't cut him yet, we're cutting him soon. We probably didn't get to it yet.
Where do you want Kimbo, at 205 or heavyweight, or what do you think best for him?
I think 205 is best for him, but I don't know if he can make it.
Dana, a recent issue has come up lately. I don't know if you're familiar with a sponsor that had ties, or the imagery that was very controversial, and you banned the Zupa bandit. How did that even make it past? How did they even get?
I guess our guys. Let me start this off with. You know who our lead attorney is, right? Lawrence Epstein.
And Mark Ratner.
And he, I don't know. These guys are swearing they're not Nazis. You know what I mean?
Are you surprised that it got on the broadcast?
No. It got on for a reason. Yeah, there were legal reasons that it happened, but that was the only time they'll be on.
They're banned.
Yep.
Did you speak to did the company try to tell you?
Oh yeah, they did everything. They've written statements and put stuff on their website. And apparently, their website had Nazi punk bands on there. They're not on there anymore. But from what I'm hearing, they did it one time.
Did any groups, Jewish groups, any groups contact you guys, or it was just an internal decision?
Yeah. And I got some emails from some fans that gave me the heads up on it. It's about the only group that hasn't been after me.
Dana, is the GSP Hardy fight set for March now after Australia, I guess, would it be?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. We have so many fights, man, I can't even remember. But that's the next fight.
And you go back a bit with Mark Bocek. What did you think of his performance?
I was really proud of Mark Bocek. Yeah, Mark Bocek used to be mine and Lorenzo's jiu-jitsu instructor when he was like 15. He used to kick the shit out of us. And it's good to see him doing well. He's a great guy.
You said during the press conference that...
Better fighter than he's a coach.
Yeah.
You said during the press conference that that Rampage will probably be back in a few months. Have you actually talked to him yet? And is there any timeline? Will it be Rashad, assuming Rashad beats Thiago Silva? Or
yes. Yeah. Me and Rampage had a very unpleasant 45-minute conversation right before the finale, and he'll be back.
Why was it unpleasant?
Why do you think?
What was he saying? Because he was saying he was coming back basically to stick it to you.
Yeah. You understand him? He said we started fighting on text that day. He sent me a really bad text, and I sent him a really bad text back. And then he sent me a text that said, "Call me. I can't spell good enough to fight over text." And then that's how it started.